I'm looking for help for a Craftsman LT2000 riding lawnmower. I am blowing the fuse every time I try to start the engine. I've looked through most of the wiring, at least the stuff I can actually get at, and can find no dead shorts. Can there be a defecting part or switch that's causing the fuse to blow? Anyone have electrical experience with this machine? Thank you, Rick.
Hello, and thank you for choosing JustAnswer. I'll be helping you today and am committed to providing clear and concise answers to your question. Can you please provide the model number from the model plate under the seat, making sure to include the period after the third digit? The model should look similar to NNNNN. Thank you and sorry for the inconvenience.
247.2888851.
Thank you. Trying to locate the correct schematic. That takes a 925-04082 harness, and unfortunately the manufacturer is not providing an electrical schematic, which is often the case. I was hoping to post one to aid in our discussion. However, the fuse is protecting just the low amperage portion of the cranking circuit, so we should be able to run this down pretty easily. Do you have access to a volt/ohm meter?
Yes, I do. I just typed something but it got lost. The leads coming out of the ignition switch goes into the harness, which splits toward the rear of the mower and also to the motor. There is a connector for the leads going to the motor. I disconnected those leads and the fuse still pops, so I am guessing it has nothing to do with the starter, etc.
It shouldn't be the starter itself, since that's actually a different part of the circuit. It's likely either a wire with insulation touching the frame, or a bad switch, such as the key or safety switch. Let's start by checking for a shorted key switch. I'll post information below showing how it is wired internally. Please use your meter to check that continuity exists between each terminal indicated in the diagram in each of the switch positions. Also, please verify that there is no continuity to any other terminal in each switch position. If there is no continuity where there should be, it means the switch is open. If there's continuity where there shouldn't be, it means the switch is shorted. In either case, the switch is bad and would need to be replaced. Site guidelines require that I post all troubleshooting steps or partial answers as answers, but this may not be the final answer. Additional troubleshooting may be required. So please hold off on rating until we determine the exact problem. If this doesn't solve it, or if you need additional assistance in applying this answer to your specific situation, please use the reply to expert link so we can continue the discussion.
Okay, give me a few minutes.
Thanks. At your convenience.
Okay, all those continuity checks were good.
Next, let's check the brake and deck safety switches. They are the same switch used in both places. There will be 2 yellow and 2 orange wires connected to them. Unplug the switches one at a time from the harness, please. The orange wires are what carry voltage to the solenoid. The yellow wires are ground to short the ignition coil and stop the engine. Neither switch should have continuity between orange and yellow in either switch position, depressed or released.
There is no continuity on either switch from any yellow to any orange. Just a note, I defeated those switches long ago by forcing the button to be depressed. I was only able to check the continuity by unplugging the leads from the switches. Hope that's okay. I also defeated the seat switch in the same manner. Is there a continuity check on that switch as well?
Sorry for the delay. Minor emergency on my end. As long as you check the switches themselves, that should be fine. Just a consideration though, is that if you are defeating the switches, not recommended, you could also just join the orange wires and they would allow voltage to continue. Leaving the yellows separated would defeat the grounding circuit, however. So the engine would remain running until shut off by the key switch. The seat switch is part of the ground circuit and no voltage flows so it would not be a consideration. Although it can be checked in the same manner. Since you've ruled out the switches, there moves be an abraded wire along the path touching the frame. I would follow the complete harness, just for the cranking circuit, from start to finish, looking for any damage. Here's the diagram of the cranking circuit. I would start at the positive battery post and then work forward to the solenoid, following the smaller wire connected to the top post of the solenoid forward through the fuse, key switch, safety switches, then back to the small terminal at the base of the solenoid. My bet at this point is you'll find a damaged wire along the path.
Okay, I'll start to do that. It's difficult though because the wires are all underbody and encased in conduit. I'll start looking and let you know if I find anything tomorrow. This is frustrating. The fuse blew once before, I replaced it and all was good for quite a while, and then today when I went to start it popped again. I've experimented on many connections by unhooking stuff but it keeps blowing. Glad I bought a 10-pack of fuses. Thanks. Talk tomorrow or later tonight if I get anywhere.
I know for sure it's not the easiest, been there, done that, but following it forward in the manner I mentioned takes you through it systematically. Keep me posted and let me know how I can help, please. Have a great evening.
One other question, are wiring harness wires colored in any way that would tell me if they should be contacting ground? Like if I see a red wire and do a ground continuity test to maybe isolate things. Or like don't bother with white or black as they are always ground wires. If there was some convention then I could be a little more targeted in what I follow to locate a shorted wire. Thanks again.
MTD, who made that unit for Sears, is actually fairly consistent. This is not your exact schematic, but it should be close enough for the wire colors. Yellow is safety ground, orange/white is the cranking circuit you're concerned about, red is positive.
Hi Rick, this morning I took the deck off so I could really get at the harness. I thought I'd recheck the switch for the clutch. Here's the deal. With the switch unplugged there is no continuity between orange and yellow either on the switch itself or on the leads running to the switch. However, when I plug the leads into the switch and check the continuity. With the switch plugged into the leads, I get continuity between the orange and yellow. Note I have the switch closed to mimic the clutch being depressed. I think you said above there should never be continuity there. There are 4 leads, 1 orange, 2 orange black stripe, 3 2 yellows and 4 white. Can I yank the orange pair and tie them together to satisfy the clutch? And if so, do I do the same for the blade switch? Thanks, hopefully this is it. If don't see any dead shorts yet but haven't pulled all the conduit casing off to look closely. As I wrote below, it seems that the switch fails when plugged in. I went and unplugged the leads from the switches and wired the oranges together on both switches. I turned the starter key and the starter engaged. Yay! Thank you so much for your help. I'll wait for your reply and add a tip for your great help. Thanks again, Rick. Now to put the thing all back together.
So glad to hear you identified the problem. That switch should indeed not have continuity between orange and yellow, so that's your culprit. You can defeat it, although I'm forced to say it's definitely not recommended for safety reasons, by tying the orange pair together. This allows 12 volts to flow uninterrupted by that switch to power the cranking circuit. Then the other two wires must be separated from one another. They provide a path to ground for the ignition coil going through the seat switch. If you are off the seat switch has continuity, and clutch is let off, the switch will provide a path to ground out the coil and kill the engine. The switch has continuity for the orange wires when depressed, and continuity for the kill wires when released. The deck switch works exactly the same way. Great job troublehooting. May you prosper in all good things your hands touch.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert, now visit justanswer.com/ythi.